The 1980s weren't just about muscle cars and neon lights. They were a wild era for trucks, too. Ford experimented with bold designs, strange engines, and workhorses built for jobs that no longer exist. Some were ahead of their time. Some were built for niches so small they vanished overnight. These trucks weren't bad. They weren't weak. They were simply forgotten. Hidden between famous F-Series legends are Ford trucks most people have never seen, let alone heard of. Today, we uncover 10 Ford trucks of the 80s everyone forgot about, machines lost to time, dust, and history. Number 1. Ford Cargo, 1981 to late 1980s. When Ford of Britain unveiled the Cargo in 1981, it wasn't just introducing another truck, it was redefining what a modern medium-duty and light heavy-duty commercial vehicle should look like. The Cargo was created to replace a patchwork of older Ford truck families in Europe, including the D-Series and parts of the Transcontinental's lower range. Instead of continuing with dated cab designs, Ford engineers developed a clean, boxy cab-over layout that prioritized visibility, ease of maintenance, and modular production. The cab's design was revolutionary for its time in Europe. Large, upright glass areas gave drivers excellent all-around visibility in tight urban environments. The interior focused on practicality, simple gauges, durable plastics, and a layout that could survive decades of hard use. The cab tilted forward for engine access, making servicing far easier than on older trucks where maintenance often required significant dismantling. What made the Cargo special was its flexibility. It was not a single truck but an entire family, ranging from light rigid delivery trucks to heavier regional haulers and tractor units. Ford offered multiple wheelbases, axle configurations, and powertrain options. Depending on market, Cargos could be fitted with Ford diesel engines, Perkins units, or Cummins power plants. This adaptability allowed the same core platform to serve as a city box truck in London, a tipper in rural Spain, or a regional tractor in Brazil. In 1986, Ford introduced the Cargo to North America. Here, it replaced much of the long-running C-Series cab-over line in urban delivery and vocational roles. However, American drivers were already shifting away from cab-overs due to changing length regulations and a preference for conventional trucks with hoods. As a result, the Cargo never achieved cultural prominence in the US, even though it was technically modern and highly capable. Outside North America, the Cargo became legendary. Production spread to countries such as Turkey and Brazil, where localized versions remained in production for decades. In Brazil, derivatives of the Cargo continued well into the 21st century, evolving in design while retaining the core cab concept. Few truck designs in Ford's history have had such a long and geographically diverse life. The reason the Cargo is forgotten is not because it failed, it succeeded too quietly. It was never a show truck or a poster icon. It worked in the background, delivering goods, hauling materials, and keeping cities functioning. While enthusiasts celebrate muscle cars and pickups, the Cargo's legacy is measured in millions of tons moved and decades of uninterrupted service. It represents Ford at its most industrial, efficient, global, and relentlessly practical. Number 2. Ford C-Series. By the time the 1980s arrived, the Ford C-Series was already a veteran. First introduced in 1957, it had survived multiple automotive generations with only incremental updates. Yet in the 1980s, this aging cab-over was still rolling out of factories and into fleets across North America. Its continued production until 1990 makes it one of Ford's longest-running truck lines. The C-Series embodied a philosophy that prized simplicity and ruggedness over innovation. Its cab-over layout allowed for maximum cargo length within legal limits, a critical advantage in urban delivery and municipal work. Fire departments, utility companies, and city services relied heavily on the C-Series because it was predictable, easy to body, and mechanically straightforward. In the 1980s, these trucks could be found wearing every kind of body imaginable: box vans, dump beds, fire engines, tow trucks, cement mixers, and mobile workshops. The chassis' flat, square design made it ideal for second-stage manufacturers who built specialized equipment on top of Ford's platform. For many bodybuilders, the C-Series was a known quantity. Dimensions, mounting points, and weight distributions were familiar after decades of use. Mechanically, the C-Series evolved just enough to remain relevant. It could be equipped with gasoline V8s or diesel engines depending on application. Transmissions ranged from simple manuals to heavier-duty units for vocational work. These weren't fast or refined trucks, but they were durable and easy to repair. Municipal fleets loved them for exactly that reason. Parts were plentiful, and mechanics knew them inside out. However, by the 1980s, the C-Series was visibly dated. The cab design traced its roots to the 1950s, and driver comfort lagged behind newer European and Japanese designs. Ford introduced the Cargo to modernize its cabover offerings, but the C-Series didn't vanish overnight. Many customers preferred continuity. For specialized roles like fire apparatus, the older chassis remained popular because it fit existing body designs and training systems. The C-Series is forgotten not because it was rare, but because it was too common. It blended into the background of daily life, school zones, city streets, industrial parks. When these trucks aged out of service, they were scrapped quietly, not preserved as classics. Yet their impact was enormous. For more than 3 decades, they formed the backbone of countless public services across North America. In the story of 1980s Ford trucks, the C-Series represents endurance. It shows how a design built for function can outlive trends, regulations, and even its own technological relevance. Number 3. Ford Transcontinental, 1975 to 1984. The Ford Transcontinental was born from ambition. In the 1980s, Ford wanted a serious presence in Europe's long-haul heavy truck market territory, dominated by brands like Volvo, Scania, and Mercedes-Benz. The result was the Transcontinental, introduced in 1975 and produced into the early 90s. This was not a light or medium truck. The Transcontinental was a full-scale European highway tractor designed for international freight. It featured a wide, tall cab with a flat floor and sleeper configuration, aiming to give drivers a comfortable environment for multi-day journeys. For its era, the cab was advanced, with improved sound insulation and ride comfort compared to many competitors. Power came from large diesel engines, including Cummins units, which gave the Transcontinental serious long-haul capability. These trucks were meant to pull heavy loads across borders, from ports to inland distribution hubs, often spending weeks on the road. Despite its technical merits, the Transcontinental struggled commercially. It was heavy, complex, and expensive to build. European hauliers often preferred domestic brands with stronger dealer networks and reputations for durability. Additionally, Ford's European truck strategy was evolving rapidly. By the early 1980s, Ford shifted focus toward the cargo platform for medium and regional duties and began re-evaluating its heavy truck investments. Production ended in 1980. No direct successor followed in Ford's European lineup. The Transcontinental thus became a technological dead end, a sophisticated machine without an heir. Surviving examples are now rare and mostly found in enthusiast collections or museums. The Transcontinental is forgotten because it sits between eras. It wasn't old enough to be vintage like 1950s rigs, nor successful enough to become legendary like some Scandinavian long-haulers. Yet it represents a moment when Ford aimed to compete at the very top of the European trucking hierarchy. In the 1980s, these trucks were still hauling freight across the continent, even as their future was already sealed. They were powerful, comfortable, and capable, yet overshadowed by changing corporate strategies. Today, the Transcontinental stands as evidence that Ford once built a true European flagship truck, even if history rarely remembers it. Number 4. Ford D-Series, 1965 to early 1980s. The Ford D-Series may have been introduced in 1965, but its final years overlapped directly with the early 1980s, making it a key part of Ford's transitional era in commercial vehicles. For nearly 2 decades, the D-Series dominated Britain's medium-duty truck market and became a common sight across Europe and the Commonwealth. These trucks were built with practicality in mind. The cab was simple and boxy, mounted over the engine for efficient use of space. The chassis was modular, allowing a wide range of wheelbases and axle configurations. From flatbeds and tippers to vans and recovery trucks, the D-Series served nearly every trade imaginable. In the late 1970s, Ford updated the D-Series with a facelift that brought more modern styling, square headlights, revised grille, and improved interiors. Yet beneath the surface, the design remained rooted in 1960s engineering. By 1981, Ford knew a clean sheet replacement was necessary. That replacement became the Cargo. During the early 1980s, D-Series trucks and early Cargos worked side by side. Fleets often kept older D-Series vehicles running because they were reliable and easy to maintain. Mechanics were familiar with their engines and drivetrains, and parts were widely available. For many operators, there was no urgency to upgrade. The D-Series earned its reputation through sheer versatility. It could handle urban deliveries, construction work, and rural hauling with equal competence. In countries like Australia and New Zealand, local variants and derivatives remained common well into the decade, even as Europe phased them out. The reason the D-Series is forgotten today is simple. It was everywhere. Like the C-Series in North America, it became part of the background of daily life. When these trucks wore out, they were scrapped without ceremony. Few were preserved because they were seen as tools, not treasures. Yet the D-Series laid the groundwork for everything that followed. Its modular philosophy directly influenced the Cargo. It proved that a single adaptable platform could serve dozens of industries. In the 1980s, as the last D-Series trucks rolled off the line, they marked the end of an era, one defined by straightforward engineering and absolute utility. Number 5. Ford LN Series, early to mid-1980s. During the early 1980s, Ford realized there was a massive gap between its light-duty commercial trucks and its heavy highway tractors. Contractors, municipalities, and regional haulers needed something tougher than a pickup-based chassis, but not as extreme as a full semi. The answer was the LN Series, a family of medium-duty conventional trucks designed to handle serious work without entering the realm of long-haul rigs. The LN Series included models such as the LN 6000, LN 7000, and related variants. These trucks looked like scaled-down big rigs, with long hoods, tall cabs, and frames capable of carrying heavy vocational bodies. They were commonly fitted with dump beds, utility bodies, box vans, tankers, and even small mixers. Unlike consumer trucks, these were built for daily abuse, job sites, stop-and-go routes, and heavy payloads. One of the defining characteristics of the LN series was engine choice. Buyers could specify robust diesel power plants such as the Caterpillar 328 V8, along with heavy-duty manual transmissions. This made the LN series capable of pulling loads far beyond what any pickup-derived truck could manage. In practice, these trucks became the backbone of city works departments, construction fleets, and regional delivery companies. What made the LN series unique in Ford's lineup was its identity crisis. It wasn't glamorous like a highway tractor, and it wasn't relatable like an F-Series. It lived in the middle, too industrial for enthusiasts, too common for collectors. Yet these trucks quietly built roads, hauled gravel, transported equipment, and kept infrastructure running. In the 1980s, you would find LN series trucks everywhere, parked at construction sites, idling beside utility crews, lining up at quarries. They were designed to start every morning and work until nightfall, year after year. Comfort was secondary to durability. Interiors were simple, with tough vinyl seats and basic instrumentation. Everything was meant to be cleaned, repaired, and reused. Today, most LN series trucks are gone. They were used until they were economically exhausted. Very few were restored because their value was always in their labor, not their nostalgia. That is why they are forgotten, not because they were insignificant, but because they were indispensable. They did the jobs no one photographed. The LN series represents Ford's industrial heart in the 1980s. These were the trucks that bridged the gap between light-duty convenience and heavy-duty brute force, quietly powering the backbone of everyday industry. Number 6. Ford L Series and Aeromax, 1980s. Ford's L Series, often called the Louisville line, formed the backbone of Ford's heavy conventional truck business throughout the 1990s. These were full-scale highway tractors and vocational rigs designed to compete directly with Freightliner, Kenworth, and Peterbilt. The L Series included models such as the L9000, known for their long hoods, tall frames, and ability to haul enormous loads. In the early 1980s, the L Series followed traditional design: square lines, upright grilles, and a rugged industrial presence. They were powered by large diesel engines from Cummins, Caterpillar, and Detroit Diesel. These trucks could be configured as dump trucks, heavy haulers, logging rigs, or highway tractors. Their strength lay in versatility. One platform could serve construction, long-haul freight, or regional distribution. By the late 1980s, the trucking industry was changing. Fuel costs and efficiency became central concerns. Aerodynamics, once an afterthought, became a selling point. In 1988, Ford answered this shift with the Aeromax L9000. It retained the core L-Series chassis but wrapped it in smoother bodywork, integrated headlights, and airflow-enhancing contours. The Aeromax was Ford's response to the aerodynamic revolution led by trucks like the Kenworth T600. It represented a philosophical shift. Heavy trucks were no longer just about brute force. They had to slice through air efficiently over hundreds of thousands of highway miles. Despite their importance, L-Series and Aeromax trucks are rarely remembered today. They did not carry the romantic image of chrome-laden show trucks, nor did they define a new brand identity. They were tools, serious, capable, and unpretentious. In the 1980s, these trucks hauled freight across America, built highways, and moved raw materials. They were common sights at truck stops and industrial zones. But as Ford later exited much of the heavy truck market, these models lost their corporate lineage. Unlike Peterbilt or Kenworth, Ford did not continue refining this heritage into the modern era. As a result, the L-Series exists in a historical gap. Powerful machines from a company that no longer plays in that exact space. They are forgotten not because they failed, but because the brand moved on. Number 7. Ford CL9000 and CLT cabovers. Before aerodynamic conventionals took over North America, cabover engine COE trucks ruled many freight corridors. Ford's CL and CLT series, especially the CL9000, represented the company's answer to the demand for maximum cargo length within legal limits. These trucks placed the cab directly over the engine, creating tall, vertical silhouettes with flat fronts and stacked windshields. The design allowed operators to haul longer trailers without exceeding length restrictions. In cities, ports, and tight regional routes, this mattered. During the early 1980s, CL and CLT cabovers were still in service across North America. They worked in container transport, regional freight, and heavy urban hauling. Their driving position gave operators excellent forward visibility, and their compact overall length made them agile in confined spaces. However, cabovers were physically demanding. The ride was harsher, noise levels were higher, and engine heat often reached the cab. As regulations relaxed and conventional trucks became longer, drivers increasingly preferred hooded designs with smoother rides and quieter interiors. Ford's CL cabovers gradually faded as the cargo arrived for medium rolls and L-Series conventionals dominated heavy hauling. Unlike some European COEs, these trucks had no long-term evolutionary path in North America. The CL series is forgotten because it belonged to a vanishing format. Once cabovers lost favor in the US, they disappeared rapidly. Few were preserved, they worked hard, and were scrapped. Yet, in their time, they were essential. They maximized efficiency in a regulatory environment that demanded compactness. They represent a period when engineering solutions were shaped directly by law and infrastructure. Number 8. Ford N-Series, Oceania, 1980s. In Australia and New Zealand, Ford faced a challenge in the early 1980s. Its aging D-Series trucks could no longer compete with modern Japanese medium-duty vehicles. Instead of developing an entirely new platform locally, Ford partnered with Hino, a Japanese truck manufacturer, to rebadge the Hino Ranger as the Ford N-Series. These trucks carried Ford badges, Ford branding, and Ford dealer support, but beneath the skin they were fundamentally Hino machines. They offered modern diesel engines, reliable drivetrains, and efficient cabover layouts that suited dense urban environments and long regional routes. The N-Series quickly became common in local fleets. They replaced older British-derived designs with Japanese reliability and efficiency. For operators, the badge mattered less than uptime, and the N-Series delivered. This partnership illustrates how globalized truck manufacturing became in the 1990s. Ford adapted to regional needs by collaborating rather than insisting on wholly in-house designs. The N Series is forgotten because it lived in a narrow geographic window. Outside Australia and New Zealand, most Ford enthusiasts never encountered them. Even within those countries, they were viewed as working tools, not heritage vehicles. Yet they symbolize a crucial transition, the moment when Western truck makers embraced Asian engineering to stay competitive. In that sense, the N Series was ahead of its time. Number 9. Ford B Series, 1980s. The Ford B Series is one of the most influential trucks of the 1980s that almost nobody ever talks about because most people never realized it was a Ford. The B Series was not a complete vehicle in the traditional sense. It was a cowled chassis, a frame with an engine, front bodywork, and driver compartment, designed specifically for second-stage manufacturers to build upon. Most famously, it became the foundation for school buses. Throughout the 1980s, thousands of yellow school buses across North America rode on Ford B Series chassis. Companies like Bluebird, Thomas, and Ward built full bus bodies on top of these frames. To students, teachers, and parents, these were just school buses. But underneath the paint and steel was Ford engineering. What made the B Series so important was its balance of simplicity and strength. It was derived from Ford's medium-duty truck platforms, giving it the durability to carry dozens of passengers every day while remaining easy to service for school districts with limited budgets. Engine options ranged from gasoline V8s to durable diesel units. The mechanical layout was straightforward, allowing fleet mechanics to keep them running for decades. In rural areas, these buses traveled hundreds of miles each week over rough roads. In cities, they endured constant stop-and-go driving, curbs, and winter abuse. The B Series chassis had to survive all of it, and it did, quietly, year after year. The B Series represents a different kind of legacy. It didn't haul freight or build skyscrapers. It carried children. It shaped daily routines for generations. Millions of people's memories of childhood mornings are tied to a Ford truck they never knew existed. Why is it forgotten? Because the bodybuilders got the visual credit. The names on the side of the bus weren't Ford. And because these vehicles were utilitarian, they were rarely preserved. When a school bus aged out of service, it was auctioned or scrapped, not restored. Yet the B Series is one of the most culturally impactful Ford trucks of the 1980s. It proves that influence isn't always visible. Sometimes it's measured in routines, in reliability, in being there every morning no matter the weather. The B Series wasn't glamorous, it was essential. Number 10. Ford Transit, 1980s Europe. While North America associated Ford with pickups, Europe associated Ford with the Transit. By the 1980s, the Transit had already become the backbone of small business, public services, and trades across the continent. The third-generation Transit, introduced in the late 1970s and refined through the 1980s, set the template for what a modern commercial van should be. These Transits were offered in countless configurations: panel vans, high-roof vans, minibuses, flatbeds, and chassis cabs. They served plumbers, electricians, postal services, ambulances, and mobile workshops. Entire economies ran on them. The 1980s models introduced more efficient diesel engines, better corrosion protection, and improved ergonomics. They weren't luxury vehicles, but they were designed around real working life. The driving position was upright and commanding. The cargo area was boxy and accessible. Everything was meant to be used, scraped, loaded, and repaired. What makes the Transit forgotten in lists like this is perspective. In Europe, it was so common that it became invisible. It wasn't exotic. It wasn't rare. It was everywhere. In North America, meanwhile, the Transit of the 1980s barely existed in public consciousness as Ford focused on domestic vans and pickups. Yet the 1980s Transit shaped the future. It defined how a commercial van should be laid out, how tradespeople organized tools, how mobile businesses operated. Today's high-roof, long-wheelbase cargo vans are direct descendants of the principles refined during that era. These vans worked until they rusted away. They were not collected. They were consumed by time. That is why they feel forgotten. But if you trace the rise of modern urban logistics, small enterprise, and mobile services, the Ford Transit of the 1980s sits at the foundation. It didn't roar. It didn't dominate highways. It simply showed up every day and carried the modern world forward. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.